morning, everybody. So I'll say my thank yous later, but this morning I just want to mention two things. I always believe in always be closing. So we've got the MDs and staff members of our HDI network on the continent. So got teams from Zim, Ghana, Nigeria, and East Africa. So if you've got brands in those areas, please speak to them later. And I pulled the short straw at the office. So this presentation was made by everybody. So in case I miss some stuff, it's not my fault. It's an HDI presentation. So what I'll do now is just take you through a bit of the study, but get you into how we approach the youth, and hope you enjoy it. So let's take you through Musa's life. So I'm watching the timer there. I might just spend it on the video. So I just wanted to illustrate how in 14 years, brands like Kodak, Nokia, I mean, I'm sure people remember the Razor phone, the Motorola, are non-existent anymore. And that's where we're going to, and that's how fast culture is moving. So just to take you through a bit of Gen Next, how we do it. So there's shortlisting, quantitative and qualitative. And yesterday I asked Steph, sorry guys. Yesterday I asked Steph, what does that mean? She just said to me that the first part is where the youth co-create the questions. So we give them to say which is your best toothpaste and coolest toothpaste. Then they shortlist it for us. And then the second part is voting. And then the qualitative part is the focus groups. In terms of the sample, so we try to keep weighted according to the demographics of the country. So you see that it's 50-50 male and female, majority black, and then we've got everybody else, and then it's 40% kids, teens and young adults. So at HDI, we always ask our J-board to give us what the youth space looks like, so enjoy.
an increase in the value-added tax rate from 14 to 15%.
Don't cry, don't cry. Don't cry, it's gonna be okay.
Duly elected President of the Republic of South Africa.
So, guys, in short, that's 6 months of the year. That's how much the youth of South Africa has been bombarded with. And I guess you're sitting in the room and you're asking, so how do we navigate ourselves around this culture? So at HDI, we believe the youth are the biggest influencers of the future. We exist to make that future meaningful. So to this morning, I just want to take you through 5 pillars that we believe at HDI will assist you to navigate through the youth space. So number 1, brands need to have a greater purpose. The 4th biggest brand connector that the youth that the youth is invested and that believe in brands need to be invested in and improving their communities. So who would have thought 3 years ago that Carling Black Label would be taking on women and child abuse? And it just shows how brands now need to change the narrative and be involved in what's going on in our communities. We're seeing quite a lot of this coming out of SAB. Obviously, there are brands in the room that target youth that I do not want to use as examples, hence we seem like we're favoring people. But that's what the youth are looking for. The next thing is understanding route and channel to market. So I've been at HDI for 6 months now, and I always tell the team that the next time a client says, please go to Maboneng, I feel like it's the Soweto for black market. You know, Maboneng is just not where the youth of South Africa are. There are different channels, there's universities, there's shopping malls. But again, now digital is growing. So out of the 12,000 youth that we poured, 90% of them own a cell phone, with 67% owning a smartphone. In the last minute that I've been watching the timer, worldwide, there have been 500 hours of video loaded on YouTube, 3.3 million Facebook posts, 29, I'm sure you're WhatsApping and seeing what that guy's talking about, so you're adding to the 29 million WhatsApp messages. And then there've been, I hope you're searching the facts, because on the last minute is 3.8 million searches on Google. When it comes to taking selfies and pictures, in 2017 alone, we had 1.2 trillion digital photos taken. Of that, 300 million were selfies. When you think of Instagram, and this is kind of the channels that we're talking about, 80% of accounts follow a business account. 300 million accounts on Instagram are posting stories. So stories are a big part. What we're trying to get to here is that when you're thinking of your marketing mix and how you're taking products to market, do not ignore digital, because this is the future. The other thing is about being consistent and authentic. There's a red brand that tried to be different the past couple of days, and they've been seen that they're not being consistent or authentic. I won't mention the brand in the room, but if you're on Twitter, you know what I'm talking about. So when you think about it, everybody remembers that ad. That ended very quickly. And you can see how people respond. You look at the Malcolm X post when he says, when the cops come and you only got Coke in the fridge. So you need to be consistent as a brand and be authentic to who you are, because the youth are able to see through it. And then the other part is about being hungry and curious. We're seeing brands that would never imagined being in the space that they're in now, but they're creating waves.
I keep having this reoccurring dream.
They look beautiful. Gotta try and run and catch it. Sometimes you have to be in a dream, wrapped up in warmth.
So who would have thought that a brand like that would have been in the space that they're in now? The last one, we believe at HDI that our competition as marketeers is everything in culture. So your brand needs to move at the speed of culture. You can't wait. I was saying to the team that what scares me about Gen Next is that we're looking back to 18 months ago. What we need to do as a brand ourselves is start looking where culture is going and how we adopt to that culture. And we're starting to see it with some brands now, and I'll take you through another case study. They're starting to adapt themselves to speaking to youth.
Don't become a thing.
So who would have thought that life insurance would be sold that way? And Indy is backed by Sanlam, you'd think Sanlam is a typical Afrikaner business, but they're adopting in ways that they need to be and locate themselves in youth culture. So the so what? I'm always skeptical when I sit in conferences and hear speakers speak and say, are you doing the same thing for yourself? So the last 6 months, we've taken a hard look at ourselves as HDI and said, are we locating ourselves in brand culture? Do we have a greater purpose? Are we being consistent and authentic in what we do? And this is what we'd like to share in terms of the journey for us.
At HDI, we don't see the youth as merely a collection of young individuals, or as just an age group defined by certain behavior. For us, the youth is a glimpse of things to come. They are a rising generation with the power to shape tomorrow. That is why we see minds ready to leave their mark. We see visionaries that will spark new trends. We see the voices that will empower future leaders. And we know that to create meaning tomorrow, we must understand our youth today. We recognize that in a changing world, to create relevance doesn't only mean looking at what's next, but more importantly, who is next? We are for the next to rise with new ideas and inventions, the next to forever change how we see the world, the next disruptors to challenge convention. At HDI, we are for the future, we are for the next.
So for us, the next is the next culture, the next job, the next degree, the next brand, the next shoe. And that's how we're seeing the youth of today. Thank you very much.